child protection, family support, which includes the support of disabled children and their families, children and young people who are looked after or caregivers and for whom we are all corporate parents, the Youth Offending Service, the Troubled Families Program, the local Safeguarding Children Board. The last year has seen significant changes for children's social care, both locally and nationally. The whole of Children's Services have moved to the refurbished first floor and implemented mobile working for social work staff. This has led to a modern, flexible working environment which has been embraced by staff. The service has also successfully implemented MASH, the Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub, which is the first in the region. This has been particularly impressive given the considerable partner engagement with the project. It also means that the greater information sharing between partners can protect children more effectively. The NSCP has also revised and relaunched the threshold document that clarifies how and what cases should be escalated into children's social care. Now, I should also mention the impact in the last year of high-profile sexual abuse cases, such as Operation U3, that is Jimmy Sabu, and other investigations, and the latest report by Professor J into child sexual exploitation in Rhode Island. This has had considerable media attention and has raised awareness of issues and the need to be more watchful, challenging, and vigilant. The service is undertaking a review of its response to child sexual exploitation, and alongside police and health colleagues are reviewing cases over a 5-year period to provide reassurance that this matter is and has been addressed robustly in Thurrocks. An initial report covering the J report and action being taken is being presented to the November Children's Overview and Scrutiny Committee. At this point, I would like to introduce you to Andrew Carter, who is in the gallery, who has been appointed as the new head of service for care and targeted outcomes, who started this week. He joins us from Lambeth. I wish him great success. I'm sure you will join me in warmly welcoming Andrew to Thurrocks. I would also like to appreciate Nikki Pace, who have taken on the role in the interim and has done incredible work in a lot of areas within the service. I'll move on to briefly to the areas of work which I have remit for. Firstly, the child protection. The service received a high number of referrals which are acted upon within 24 hours. This includes the Council's emergency duty team who work outside office hours and respond to urgent queries. I can inform members that child protection in Thurrocks is a service which is fully occupied in meeting the Council's legal duty as the lead agency alongside police in the investigation of reports of child abuse in the area. Following an investigation, it will be decided whether in order to protect a child, a multi-agency child protection plan is needed. The social worker will then work with the family alongside a range of other professionals, schools and other services to reduce the risk to the children in the family. Our main focus is for children to be brought up in their own family. But on some occasions, children are not safe to remain within their family, and the social worker can apply to the court to remove them from their parents' care. The social worker will always explore the extended family as an alternative carer for the child. Now, family support and disabled children. The services are legally obliged to work to maintain children and young people in their own families wherever possible. Disabled children are classified as children in need by virtue of their disability. The arrangements for disabled children has changed from September, when the Special Education Needs and Disability Act was implemented with the aim for children to have a single plan to cover their health, education, and social care needs. We have been planning these changes, and a new support group of parents has been formed in order order to enhance the voice of parents in service provision around what will be known as the local offer to disabled children. Now, look after children and young people. The Council has a corporate parenting committee, which is a members' forum to consider the welfare and progress of our looked after children and young people. We have looked at every aspect of the looked after children's lives in that committee. Their health, education, future employment, and the care offered by their foster carers. And numbers of looked after children in Thurrocks has risen over recent years. Further management action has been put in place by means of a panel chaired by the head of service to review every decision where a child becomes looked after, including initiation of care proceedings. The percentage of children being accommodated has reduced as a consequence. The new focus is to ensure that children come out of care through rehabilitation home or through permanent arrangement, that is adoption. Children are placed in foster care wherever possible.
Can you sum up those?
Yeah. Okay, I would just quickly like to take this opportunity to thank our loyal foster carers who continue to provide committed and exceptional services for our looked after children. There's a lot to say, and let me just quickly talk briefly about the local safeguarding children's boss. That there's been the work online e-safety roadshow to our school, and it's reached up to 5,500 children. And the offset inspection, so there have been no formal inspections that have been imposed, you know, but there is a new framework for inspection which focuses on the voice of children and young people. Well, I'm very proud to be the lead member. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Educate their children. While this is primarily an education issue, it's also an important safeguarding issue in the very notion that parents somehow need to be qualified by the council to look after their own children. Will the portfolio holder give me the undertaking that immediate review will take place of training given to accounts operatives to ensure that they administer the law correctly and properly as parents, and also, I know she can't answer this at the moment because she won't have the figures in front of her, that we urgently review how many parents have been given this information, and if any parents and any children have in fact been disadvantaged by incorrect information.
You understand. But obviously what you're saying about information, I think it's the responsibility of office members to make sure that correct information has been given out there to the parents, and I can undertake that we will look into this. Thank you.
Members approved an increase in the childcare budgets of around £3 million to deal with a gaping hole in the department's finances. Members on this side of the chamber did not envisage such budget increases being permanent features of the budget setting. What steps has the Cabinet member taken to ensure that such poor budgeting does not happen again?
That is increasingly the placement budget that you're talking about, and which we almost wish we are really grappling with having control of, because the demand for the services is increasing, and now you know that perhaps the correlation of the population, and which obviously increased population in Thurrocks, making it that there are more children that we need to care for. There are a lot of review going on, and it is actually covered in my report. I don't know if you probably later go onto that page. There's a lot of review going on in that we do want to support the children that we need to support. So in that format, we would be looking at every placement and making sure that we're not spending money effectively, because the ultimate aim is to make sure that there's no children suffering in silence.
Outturn variations in the report, which does make it a lot easier to read. Which does bring me on to my question, as your original budget for legal costs this year increased from 700,000 to over 1.2 million, which is a staggering increase of over £500,000 of legal costs. In the last year, we've seen at least one case of the press reporting a child being returned to its parents after being wrongfully taken. Can the portfolio holder confirm if this budget increase is due to greater scrutiny and challenge of social care decisions rather than errors and mistakes?
How we do manage this budget, I must say, and it's definitely not true to careless mistake. And when a child, when there's a child that we feel is at risk, the court is approached. And obviously, without court agreement, we would not take a child into care. So, I'm saying that the legal proceeding cost is increasing, but there are a lot of measures that is going to surely have effect on that in terms of reducing it in the future. If I refer you to page 57, where it says legal fees, the budget, which covers the cost of court fees and the legal presentation in the council, what we are doing is that there is a threshold panel that's been held, headed by the head of service, and the legal, our own legal person is always there. So it's going to be cutting costs in terms of like, we don't have to have extra meetings separately with the person, whereas a whole of court papers can be looked through at the same time at this panel. So that's one way of us being able to reduce the legal cost in the future.
No, if you'll recall. Going back to that point about 2013, 3 million quid is a very big hole to have filled very quickly. I suppose my question goes to, if we've spent 3 million quid already, and we've signed them cheques off already, how are we working different with our budgets? Now, working in adult social care like I did last year, we was looking at every single way of changing the way we worked. Please can you give this chamber some confidence what changes are happening and what initiatives you're leading on to make sure that
responsibility is for the child. I know there is issue of budget, but the ultimate responsibility is for the child, because the sort of penalty for not making sure that we are capturing every children that needs our support is far more than the money that we will probably want to just save. There are measures, and I can only also refer you perhaps later to read on the page 57 of the report, because there are several measures there that we're looking at, including the external placement. We want more foster carer, in-house foster carer for our children, and we have carrying out a recruitment campaign for this, and this will largely reduce our expenses on external placement, because the in-house obviously is more reasonable than having agency placement. And like I said, there are different areas that we are, and I've mentioned before, the weekly threshold panel that we are looking at. For example, there are some children that are in long-time care. We need to know, do they still need our help, or can ordinary, other agencies be able to support them? So through that, in fact, there's been a lot of reduction in the number of children that we have on our books for now. So, and we are carrying on doing this, because nobody's got a bottomless budget. We too are affected. Thank you. The IT system should actually be working to support our officers, not the other way around. And this area of work is highly regulated, and obviously we have to rely on funds. But I will make sure that every system to help social workers work, to help them become more efficient and effective, will be achieved. Thank you.